Well, it's kind of rare that I get an opportunity to give you an NFL prediction show from home. But anyway, hello everybody. And no, I don't mean the angel halo. It's my usual hello here from your DJ Crazy Tom, giving you a special NFL prediction show straight from the... Whoa, what's this? Oh, you now. Get in there, Danny, will you?
You didn't tell me when to jump out.
Well, you jumped out. That's what you wanted to do. Now get in the middle here. Well, I guess I was pre-planned a little bit. It's my son, Danny, as you're looking right next to me here. And
Not a stunt double.
Well, if I were a stunt double, I'd be a lot younger, that's for sure. Anyway, let me move over here so you can get in closer to the camera here. But what I wanted to mention to you is, last year I decided to do a full 20-minute NFL prediction show from, believe it or not, outside Danny's school. But I decided against it this year, so I figured, hey, we do it from home. All the preseason stuff is all done, and I'm going to give you my thoughts of what's going to happen in 2015, and Danny will as well. So, where would you like to start?
I think we should start off with, I don't know what team to start off with. How about you start?
You know what? I always begin with the AFC. So,
American?
Yeah, the AFC East, which of course has been the dominant division for the New England Patriots for it seems like the last nearly 15 years. Ever since Drew Bledsoe got hurt by Mo Lewis of the Jets back in 2001, Tom Brady came about, and ever since then, he's won 4 Super Bowls. Now, obviously, the Patriots have been marred in controversy, especially as of late, but this was a division which I thought could have been won by anybody this year, until just a couple of days ago when a judge decided to strike down the NFL's 4-game suspension of Tom Brady, and now Brady will be able to play in the season opener on Thursday night in Foxborough against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think it was a bad decision for them to turn down the suspension. I would think that was a terrible idea.
Well, I'll say this much. I mean, the way I wrote on my Facebook page, which you can check at facebook.com/crazytom, I wrote a note which basically stated about my feelings regarding the suspension being dropped. In my opinion, I mean, I don't know if Brady was part of the Deflategate or not, but the fact that he destroyed evidence and lied about it was enough for a 4-game suspension to happen. However, the judge kind of saw it another way and struck down Roger Goodell's decision. And to me, I think it was a business decision. That means obviously so many people be talking about such a decision, which many people felt was wrong anyway. But now that's going to translate into so many more eyes wanting to be in front of the TV screens on NBC for the Steelers-Patriots opener on Thursday night. What do you think?
I'm thinking they should have, I'm still asking, if he destroyed evidence, he didn't need to destroy his phone. There's something called a delete button on an iPhone. There's something called a delete button where you can delete messages.
But the problem is there's always going to be a record of those messages somewhere, so it's easy to dig them out, even if the NSA requests your phone records and stuff. Police areas, they can certainly get those pieces of information at the request of the judge and stuff like that, so they're always visible. It's just basically like you post something on Facebook, then you delete it, but while the time it was up there, somebody snapshots it, so you lose control basically of that information once you put it up there. Once again, that's social media responsibility. But anyway, having said all that, what are you looking for the AFC East this year? I think it's going to be a very close division because you got the Patriots, an improving Dolphin team, a Buffalo team with a very good defense, and then the Jets, who couldn't do any worse than last year.
No, they couldn't.
What's your thoughts so far on the division?
I think the best teams on, the best team on the AFC East. Wait, what teams are in the AFC East?
Again, the Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, and Jets.
I don't know why, but I'm going for the Dolphins this year.
You know, I actually thought Miami would steal the AFC East this year, but that was only predicated on if Tom Brady had to serve that 4-game suspension. Now that it's been lifted, I think New England wins that division yet again. I have the Patriots 10-6, Dolphins 9-7, Bills 8-8, and the Jets 6-10. The Jets, I think, will be competitive, but I do think with their quarterback issues, they may have a good defense, but I just don't think they're going to be that good of a team.
Well, for mine, I know mine's not in order, but I'm not going the same order. Patriots, I'm going for 10-6 on the Patriots, 7-9 on the Jets, 8-8 on the Bills, and 11-5 on the Dolphins.
So you really think Miami could win 11 games? And keep in mind, their defense has gotten a lot better, especially with Suh coming from the Lions. And you know how Suh wrapped up that game against the Cowboys in the playoffs. He is a monster, but he has to keep himself in check. So as long as he's
because of his mental condition.
partly medical, partly mental, it's a lot of things. But still, as long as he keeps himself in check all year, Miami's going to be dangerous on defense. So.
And also, post a comment down below if you know how to properly say his first name, because we can't say his first name.
I certainly can. That's why I said sue me, will you?
Yeah.
So.
Like sumo wrestling.
Well, I wouldn't call that to him. Otherwise, he wouldn't care how old you are. Anyway, looking at the AFC North, you got the Steelers, you got the Browns, you got the Bengals, and you have the Ravens, of course, us being from Audubon, and of course, the home of Super Bowl 47 MVP Joe Flacco. And yes, there goes another thumbs up. We're now nearly 3 years removed from that, but what are you looking at the North this year between those four teams?
Well, the Ravens are in the AFC North, right?
Yes.
All right. I think they have a great rally going. They weren't best last year, but they still oh, bless you.
Excuse me.
All right. But they had a good rally going, and I think they're going to be 9 and 8.
Well, 9-7.
Yeah.
Well, boy, the NFL would kill to have. They don't want an 18-game schedule. They think 16's perfect.
Yeah.
But I think one of the bigger questions comes from, actually two big questions, from the Cincinnati Bengals. If they make the playoffs, will they ever win a playoff game, period? And the Steelers. If Roethlisberger gets hurt, your backup is Michael Vick.
I think they shouldn't have had him. I think he should have stayed with the Eagles, even though it's in the same state. It's probably like a 4-hour drive, but I think Michael Vick, after being charged with and adding on to a criminal record, I don't think he's going to get a lot of attention, and I don't think he's going to be that great from the response to the fans.
But don't forget, too, there's always going to be talk about Michael Vick and what he did in the past, and some people will forgive and others will not. Andy Reid gave him the opportunity, and Vick had a briefly resuscitated career as the Eagles won the division in the NFC East in 2010, but then lost their final 2 games at home, and then, of course, lost the playoff game to the Packers in the NFC wildcard.
And they still have not won a Super Bowl in franchise history, even though being around in 28 years, I believe. They will be around for 100 years, and they will probably win a Super Bowl by then. But the last time a major league team in Philadelphia had won a championship was back in 2008, when in baseball the Phillies won.
Obviously, you're watching that video earlier, but to just clarify, the Eagles' last NFL championship before there was divisional play was 1960. So we can't forget that one. I'm sure Eagles fans know that very well, and some Eagles fans who are watching obviously just wanted to clarify that for you.
Well,
but
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was Michael Vick charged with? I actually
basically
don't know.
dogfighting and cruelty to animals and stuff. But remember, Andy Reid gave him a chance. Vick played very well until I think 2011, when things started to fall apart. Last year he was with the New York Jets, and he really played very unmotivatedly for the Jets. He really didn't want to be there. So he was really the backup to Geno Smith, and the Jets don't really have much of a quarterback anyway.
But they do have I believe they have Chris Johnson and stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
But still, having said that, Michael Vick is a backup for the Steelers. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go over, but remember, he's done his time, he's served his punishment, he moves on with his life, and he's at least stayed out of trouble ever since coming back to the NFL. I'm not sure if that's going to make a big difference, but if Roethlisberger goes down for any reason whatsoever, that could be a problem. Especially,
And that could turn them into a bacon cheeseburger.
I don't know about that, but think about this. I don't think Michael Vick can play anymore, so I don't know what the big deal is anyway. So I think that's one of the biggest questions. And the Cleveland Browns with Johnny Manziel, they're not ready yet. So they got still a long way to go. My thinking here, I have Baltimore 10-6, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati both at 9-7, and Cleveland at 5-11. Do you agree with that, or do you feel there's a little bit of a change up with your record thoughts?
Well, the team that you put 5-11, which team was that?
That'd be the Cleveland Browns.
I think I'm going to a little bit up, and I'm going 6-10 with the Browns, 10-6 with the Ravens, 8-8 with the Bengals, and the other team.
The Steelers.
Oh, the Steelers. If Roethlisberger gets hurt, it's probably if Roethlisberger doesn't get injured the whole year, it's probably going to be a 10-6 year. But with Michael Vick, it's probably going to be an 8-8 year.
Or it could be worse, but we haven't even played any of the games yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, the AFC South, still I think the easiest division to pick in football, or at least one of the easiest. You have the Colts, you have the Texans, you have the Titans, and you have the Jaguars. Now, of course, it was a horrible division last year, and the Colts easily won that, and I expect them to win it again this year. But I see a couple very interesting things here. Of course, the Texans trying to get themselves going. Of course, last year was a tough year for them, especially when their first overall draft pick was injured for a lot of the year. I forget his name, Clowney. And now you got the Titans, who have a new quarterback. Of course, the Eagles fans wanted him, Marcus Mariota. That obviously didn't quite work out. But you also have the Jaguars, who are a very interesting story. And I have a feeling this team could surprise some this year. Your thoughts on the South so far?
Well, the Jaguars, remember, they were tied for the worst team last year with, I believe, a 3-13 record.
Yeah, but I wonder if a lot of people really. I wonder if a lot of people wanted to go to a national TV broadcast to see Tennessee and Jacksonville, especially in December with those horrific records.
Oh yeah, but I think honestly, the Jaguars are gonna have another pretty bad year. So I'm going a low. I'm gonna be going with a low 5-11.
Well, that wouldn't be surprising because, after all, they are Jacksonville. But the class in the division, once again, is Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. I have a feeling they could, if they get their offensive line fixed up, they could be potentially the team to beat in the AFC this year. Now, I have the Colts at 11-5. I have the Jaguars at 8-8. I've heard some things where a lot of people have liked what they're doing, so I wouldn't sell the Jaguars short this year. I see Houston being 6-10, and Tennessee, this is a rebuilding year for them. I say they're 4-12. Do you agree with any of this?
Well, the Texans with J.J. Watt. Yes, I think that they're going for a 9-7 year. With still having J.J. Watt. If J.J. Watt gets injured, it's going to be a little bit worse with a 8-8 or 7-9 year.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, but I think Houston needs a lot more pieces than J.J. Watt. He may be the defensive stud, but he needs players around him to be more effective. So we'll see what happens there. In the AFC West, I think
what other teams did I not say?
Well, you only gave like a team or two, which is fine. I mean, I wanted to get your thoughts on how that division would go.
Yeah, I want to do like what other teams are in there?
We got the Colts. You mentioned you got the Colts and the Titans still to go. If you wanted to briefly mention them.
I think the Titans. I don't think they're doing so good. I think I'm gonna go for a 6-10, and for the Colts, I think they are going to do good. I think they're going to go for a 11-5 year.
Okay, so obviously you might be copying a little bit off of me there.
No, I it's my thing.
I know. We're allowed to agree on that. But the AFC West, I think, is going to be the most intriguing division because you got the Chargers, you got the Broncos, you got the Chiefs, and you got the Oakland Raiders. Now, of course, so many people by default pick the Broncos to win the AFC West because of Peyton Manning I mean, it's his fourth year in Denver. I mean, he's had a couple of shots at a Super Bowl, like the last couple of years. 2 years ago, Seattle mauled him, and last year suddenly got interrupted, all because of an upstart Indianapolis team who had the perfect game plan against Peyton Manning in Denver, which almost seems unreal. What are your thoughts for the AFC West this year?
I think I'll start off with the team who I think really doesn't have a huge chance. Which I only have two teams in the AFC.
Like I said, you got the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Chargers.
Yeah. Raiders, no. I'm going for 6-10 for them. Broncos, I'm sorry. Chiefs. Was Andy Reid still? Wait, is Andy Reid still the coach?
Yeah, Andy Reid's in his third year there, and they've added Jeremy Maclin to the squad too. So these two know each other very, very well. That might be a big help for their offense.
Yeah. So I'm thinking with now them having Maclin, I honestly think they are going to rally up to a 9-7 record. Now for the the Chargers. They're surprisingly actually my favorite team, even though I'm on the East Coast. I don't really mind about that, but I think they're going to have a great year, even though Phillip Rivers might be having his last year this year. Like, Rivers might be having his last year this year, but I think they're going to have a great 12-4 year this year.
Boy, I'll tell you something. You're really giving them a lot of props here. I think Rivers is on the last year of his contract. I'm sure he's got a couple years still left to go.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, I think this is definitely a three-team race, but you can't pick Denver as a division winner by default for two reasons. Number one, Peyton Manning clearly is on the downside of his career. Number two, given the perfect game plan that Indianapolis showed in the divisional playoff, they exposed Peyton Manning's lack of long-range game. So now you can shorten the field up against him and make it more difficult for him to be accurate. And number three, Gary Kubiak's the new head coach. He was not liked at all in Houston. Now he's going to get a chance in Denver, and from what I've heard, he is not a real good coach. So, who wins the AFC West? Look at the camera, folks, if I can get this.
That's actually mine.
Yep. Yeah. Which Danny got over the summer. Yes, he picks the Chargers 12-4. I actually have them at 10-6. So look for the Chargers to win the division. I have Kansas City and Denver both at 9-7, the Raiders at 6-10. So I think it's going to be a very competitive division, but I think those people who are falling into the land of Peyton Manning and how well he's going to do, something tells me it's not going to work out so well in 2015. And I know I got a couple of Broncos fans who probably are going to disagree with that. But, hey, it's only my thoughts, and hey, we're going to have to wait and find out what happens in 2015 once the games start.
All right, I think we're going to the National League now.
The NFC, yes indeed. And
Yes.
while we go to our home area, get yourself in here, why don't you stretch out a little bit. The NFC East. Yes, now if you don't know the four teams in that division, there's a big problem.
Yes.
You got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Redskins. Yes, very intriguing off seasons. Of course, the Eagles, they get rid of a lot of players, and Chip Kelly brings his own people in. He brings in Sam Bradford, who's had 2 knee injuries. He's brought in Miles Austin, who has a chronic hamstring injury. He's brought in Kiko Alonso, who sat out all last year with an ACL injury. That means next to the NovaCare complex, there must be a hospital for injured players over there for rehab. But don't underestimate Chip Kelly. He is a smart guy and a very good coach. But the one thing about the Eagles is that they always get off the fast starts, but then at the end they have to hang on for dear life to win. The Redskins, they're a mess. I mean, you have Robert Griffin, who was their quarterback, and then, of course, he messed up his knee, and I couldn't believe that he was still allowed to play until he completely blew his knee out in the wild card game against Seattle just a couple of years ago. He hasn't been the same since. The Giants, you have to expect them to be better. Eli Manning, and of course with their receiver in Odell Beckham, who will catch anything, including the kitchen sink, even if it's like 2 feet long and in triple coverage. I mean, that's something you got to watch out for. And then, of course, you have the Cowboys, who have a running back by committee after losing DeMarco Murray. So you have a lot of interesting things going on in that division. Your thoughts?
Well, honestly, I think the Eagles might be better with. They might be better without Macklin, and the Chiefs might be better with Macklin. But the Eagles might be better with Murray, and we are not going to be better with Murray. So I think the defense is going to be shrinking a little bit, and not in size, but because we're not in a laundry machine, but in skill, because we like his contract expired, but it's so funny how the Cowboys and the Eagles have had such a long time rivalry, and then they send one of their best running backs over to their rival team. Do you think it's time for this rivalry to start ending?
No, you can't end rivalries that way, but that's the nature of the NFL business. DeMarco Murray had a career year last year, was the leading rusher in the NFL, and now, of course, he ends up going to Philly because his contract never worked out for him in Dallas to get a new long-term deal. I really think the key for the Eagles is they have to stay healthy. I do know they are healthy to begin the season, so I think the Eagles are going to go off to a fast start. A couple other interesting things, because their first 3 games are at Atlanta, home to Dallas, and then at the Jets, which could be a big trap game. And I think in round 2, we'll see what the Eagles are all about. But you also have to remember, the Eagles, they took a lot of risks this year getting players who just couldn't stay healthy. If they all stay healthy, they might have a chance to win the division. But I just think something is bound to go wrong, as it always seems to. Now, here's another interesting stat. Since the link opened in 2003, 12 games have been held between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Cowboys are 7-5, and they've won 5 of their last 6, including the last 3 straight. So, but as far as the Cowboys go, there's just a lot of questions. This is going to be a big year for Tony Romo. Dez Bryant needs to step it up. And yes, I know Cowboy fans are saying, yes, Dez caught the ball in that game against Green Bay. But remember this. The Cowboys got a huge break against Detroit the week before, and they were on the wrong side of the break against Green Bay. And that just was basically a domino effect through the rest of the NFC playoffs. But even if Dez caught the ball and the Cowboys took the lead, they would have never stopped Aaron Rodgers in the final 4 minutes of that game. So the result was the way it was for a reason. Now, as far as this year goes, I see the Giants improving. I see the Redskins staying the same. I don't know how long they'll be able to hang with Kirk Cousins. The Eagles will be very intriguing, but the Cowboys have one of the 2 best offensive lines in the game, along with Green Bay, and I think later in the year, I think their strength will be shown. So, based upon that, I have the Cowboys 11-5, the Eagles 10-6, which seems to be the mantra of Chip Kelly, the Giants at 8-8, and the Redskins a 5-11 year. Dan Snyder has run that team into the ground just like the Redskins turf at FedEx Field. What's your thoughts?
Well, I have something similar. I think the Cowboys are actually going to be a 11-5 year. The Eagles 9-7. The Giants. I think the Giants have a chance this year. I'm giving them a 9-7, and like you said, the Redskins, they are falling apart. I'm giving them an even worse 4-12.
As I say, fright for old DC. But and also consider the Giants. How will Jason Pierre-Paul play his game with one less finger thanks to a fireworks accident over the summer? We'll see how that plays
one
within
less finger?
Yeah, unfortunately, he mishandled fireworks and they exploded, and he ended up losing one of his fingers. I know, and that's also stupid. That's why you do not play with fireworks. That's the whole reason for it. But anyway, that's your NFC East. Let's go NFC North, which is going to be a rather interesting division because you got the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings. And you know what? I think there are going to be a couple little surprises there. Now, of course, the biggest loss for Green Bay was Jordy Nelson, who blew his knee out in the preseason. He is gone for the year, and he is so valuable to the Packer offense. Who is going to step up? The Bears, oh boy, they're going to be the bozo, the clowns of the NFC North the way this is going because they really haven't improved themselves very much. You got the Vikings who are working their way up, and the Lions with life after Suh. Will they be as effective or as disciplined? What are your thoughts?
Thinking the Lions aren't going to be they aren't going to be as strong without Suh. Because remember, the way the Lions had the game was with like Suey. I'm just gonna call him Suh, but
It rhymes with duh.
yeah. But I'm thinking the Lions are going for an okay 8-8. Like it's even, but it's still okay.
Well, I also think too they'll probably take a step back, but they also have some good defenders on top of it. I think with Suh leaving, it's going to decrease the effectiveness of the Lions defense, but I still wouldn't rule them out. And keep in mind, you got Matthew Stafford and one of the best receivers in the game, Calvin Johnson, who certainly could turn it up for another big year.
All right, so I'm thinking with the Green Bay, straight out of Michigan. Yeah, with
Green Bay's in Wisconsin, by the way.
oh, isn't that like the cheese state where they make like that cheese or something?
Well, you got the cheese heads, and you basically
Yeah.
Wisconsin cheese is very famous, so I guess there's something
Yeah.
in place within that.
So that's a whole cheesehead concept, but I'm thinking the Packers are going to be 10-6. 10-6.
Well, the way I look at it, I still think the Packers are still the class of the division. I have them 11-5, but a team to look out for is Minnesota. I think they're 8-8 this year, and I also think the Lions will also be 8-8. The Bears, oh boys, I see them at 6-10. They're a mess. Jay Cutler obviously doesn't help issues, and I don't think they did much to really improve this team over the season. So that's my lookings for the NFC North. Now to the worst division in all football, the NFC South. Remember last year Carolina won the division with a below 500 record, only the second time ever that it has happened. Remember the Seahawks one year won the NFC West with a 7-9 record, and they won a playoff game on top of that.
Yeah.
So the way we're looking here, you got Carolina with Cam Newton, you got New Orleans with Drew Brees, you got Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston his rookie year, and you got the Atlanta Falcons, who are starting pretty fresh. Matt Ryan's the quarterback, but their defense I'm not really 100% sure about. What are your thoughts on that division?
I think the Falcons with their defense, I don't think they're looking so good. Like you said, the defense, they are messed up. I'm giving them a 7-9.
Well, I think somebody will win the division with an over 500 record. And of course, after all the injuries the Saints had last year, considering they couldn't get anything together. I mean, last year, Atlanta and Carolina played for the NFC South title in the final week of the year, and Carolina destroyed them 34-3. Right there, that was an immediate firing for the head coach of Atlanta. So now they're starting fresh. I think they're in a little bit of a rebuild mode. Carolina, I think, is going to be tough, but I think New Orleans is something to prove. And based upon that, I have the Saints at 9-7, Carolina 7-9, Atlanta 6-10, and Tampa Bay with Jameis Winston 4-12. I don't think he's going to be dancing on top of a few Tampa Bay bars with the season that he's going to have.
Well, I'm honestly thinking that I think the Panthers will be better this year. I think they will be better. So I'm giving them a chance with a 9-7.
So you think Carolina could be just as competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are. But remember, they won a very bad division last year, and of course, remember, they beat Arizona in a playoff game last year. So don't think that losing teams that win divisions could not win their first playoff game, because in those scenarios, they're 2-0. Remember, Seattle did that a few years ago against New Orleans. But then that was the birth of Marshawn Lynch. Let's get right to the AFC West and mention Lynch and those Seattle Seahawks. Yes, they're the defending AFC champions 2 years running. Of course, they won the whole thing at the Meadowlands for Super Bowl 48 2 years ago. You got the Seahawks, Rams, 49ers, and Cardinals in a division which I think has seen a lot of change. Jim Harbaugh has left the 49ers to coach the University of Michigan. Todd Bowles left Arizona to pursue the head coaching position of the New York Jets. And Seattle keeps losing players a lot. You got Arizona, which is a hard team to really predict, and San Fran, as I said, a team that probably is in very big transition. Now, of course, fans would like to see the 49ers play the Super Bowl in their home stadium this year, but again, I don't really see that happening. What are your thoughts for the AFC West?
Well, I'm honestly thinking that the 49ers don't have that much of a chance. I don't think that they are doing that good, especially with a coach of a college team. I think they should have gotten a coach that wasn't from college, but was from a team, or maybe like a formal NFL coach, or somebody that kind of knew more about the sport.
Well, I don't know the coach's name, but he's been around quite a while, doing the rounds of coaching. It might be his first coaching position. I'm really not 100% sure. But the 49ers are never out of a game when you have Colin Kaepernick at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not giving them that much. Like, I'm giving them 7-9, but that's okay.
Who do you think wins the NFC West?
Well, what teams do we have to work with here?
Well, you've got Arizona, you got Seattle, and you got St. Louis.
So you got basically the Cardinals, the
Rams and the Seahawks
yeah,
too.
the Rams and the Seahawks, and then you got I can't think of the name. The guy with Drew Brees.
The Saints, but that's the NFC South. I already predicted the Saints to win the South.
Yeah, but I think for right now, the Cardinals are going nowhere.
You really think they're going to take a step back compared to last year? Remember, they got to such a hot start and they just flat out collapsed. Their division was theirs for the taking, and then they just couldn't get things together because everybody got hurt. Every quarterback they put in got hurt. And no wonder it really caused for major alarm last year. If the quarterbacks did not get hurt, Arizona could have overtaken Seattle for the division. So, if they stay healthy, what do you think will happen this year?
If they stay healthy, they're going for an easy 10-6 record. But if they don't stay healthy and at least 2 people get hurt, or at least 2 or 3 people get hurt, and they're going to a deep 5-11.
Wow, that's really saying something. That's quite a range. But one more question. What about Seattle?
Seattle has a chance. It has a chance. I'm giving them 10-6. I don't exactly think that they're going to be that great, but let's see what they got.
Well, we definitely will see, especially with Marshawn Lynch, and of course with Cam Chancellor holding out, Russell Wilson and his passing game. Pete Carroll's going to have his troops ready, but I really think this is going to be one of the biggest surprise divisions this year. I have the Rams at 10-6, as well as the Seahawks at 10-6. I have Arizona going 8-8, and the 49ers going 6-10. But here's the biggest surprise. I have St. Louis winning the tiebreaker over the Seahawks in the NFC West. So I have the Rams win the division. Couple things. First of all, an improving defense that Jeff Fisher has. He's done a very nice job with his team. Plus, guess who's quarterbacking?
Nick Foles.
Yep. How quickly we forget about that. I really think the Rams might have a very good year, but we'll see what happens there. So, as we take a look at going to the AFC, I have basically these 6 teams in order. The division winners, the Colts from the South being the 1 seed, the Chargers from the West being the 2 seed, the Patriots in the East with the 3 seed, and Baltimore from the North, the 4 seed, with the wild card teams, the 5 seed Kansas City and the 6 seed Miami. I basically have 5 teams at 9-7. Miami, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Denver, but I think Kansas City and Miami will end up being the 2 teams that come out of that 9-7 mess in the AFC. In the NFC, I have Green Bay with the number 1 seed, 11-5, Dallas at number 2 with the same record, St. Louis from the NFC West being the 3rd seed, and from the South, New Orleans the 4th seed at 9-7, the 2 wild cards, Seattle at 10-6, the 5 seed, and the Eagles the 6th seed, also at 10-6. So, Who beats who to be the AFC representative in San Francisco or Santa Clara for Super Bowl 50?
So, um, so basically, you're saying who would probably win the AFC?
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm honestly saying the Chargers. I'm honestly saying.
You think San Diego has a shot to get to their second Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think they have a shot.
Who do you think they beat?
I think they'll beat. Oh, let me see your paper.
No. You're going by your thoughts now. Go by your thoughts.
I don't know. Well, I honestly think out of those four, well, if they beat the Ravens, it's not going to be that much of a surprise. They don't have as much strength as they did like a few years ago.
Yeah, but I think too that I think if the game was in Baltimore, that'd be a big travel issue there. But that's not a bad pick. I have the Colts beating the Patriots. No, I'm sorry. The Colts beating San Diego in the AFC Championship game. I think San Diego's going to be a surprise team this year. I think they get to the conference championship, but I just think Andrew Luck is worlds better. He is going to get to a Super Bowl at some point. Why not be this year? The Colts haven't been to a Super Bowl since Super Bowl 44, Peyton Manning. They transferred from one great quarterback to another elite quarterback in Andrew Luck. I think the Colts represent the AFC for Super Bowl 50.
Well, I think for the NFC, I honestly think I think I forget what team.
Which team are you thinking about?
I'm thinking the 49ers team.
Now, wait a minute. You thought the 49ers were going to be 7-9, and you think they have a chance. So basically, you're saying 49ers 7-9, Rams 6-10, Seahawks 6-10, Arizona 5-11.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow, very interesting. The NFC, who's your pick?
NFC for my pick is I don't know. I actually seriously don't know right now.
Well, right now, and I know it's kind of against my religion because I'm wearing the shirt, but I'm picking Green Bay to beat the Cowboys in the AFC Championship game. But then again, you never know. Now, of course, the key will be when those two teams meet in December. That kind of will determine who gets home field in the NFC playoffs, in my opinion. What's your thought?
I'm thinking probably. I was thinking Green Bay against. I was thinking Green Bay against. I actually don't know.
You don't know?
I honestly don't know because I don't. I don't have I don't have the thoughts right off your head like yours.
Well, but this brings up something very interesting. You think Seattle makes a run to get back to the NFC title game? Remember, Seattle plays Green Bay round 2 this year. That could be an early preview of the NFC Championship game. You never know.
Yeah, it could be an early preview, but
So
I don't have any for the AFC, but I'll probably add it to the description if I get it thought before it actually gets uploaded.
So it looks like we both are in agreement that Green Bay will be the NFC representative.
Yes.
So, but you're saying it's San Diego in the AFC, I'm saying it's Indianapolis. But it will all go down the first Sunday in February at Levi's Stadium outside San Francisco in Santa Clara. And we'll see if the NFL season is any more clear. But you know, every week is a very strange adventure, so you never ever know. Remember, Thursday it all begins. Pittsburgh at New England. Yes, Tom Brady versus Ben Roethlisberger again. The Sunday night game, of course, being the Giants-Cowboys from AT&T Stadium. The two Monday night games, the Eagles at Atlanta, and I think the other one's Minnesota-San Francisco. I'm not 100% sure, but bottom line is it's bound to be a good year. So I guess you're ready for some football?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, I do not have the prediction for Audubon High School yet. But anyway.
Now let's play ball.
All right, well, go back to the ninth inning and see if the Phillies are losing. All right, well, there you go, the 2015 NFL predictions by Son Danny with Crazy Tom here. Thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, you can leave the comments while he leaves the rabbit ears behind my head. Better rabbit ears than a dunce cap. Thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you enjoy the season.